capitalism is the use of the term capitalism is itself a Marxist way of thinking. The idea that what we live under is an ism contains the belief that there is another ism under which we could live, whereas in fact capitalism is just a way of describing the economic system as it will invariably function in one form or another. Look, you could understand the Soviet Union in this way as well. When I first went to live in Moscow, there was a restaurant I rather liked, which I'd been introduced to by a Russian friend, with the poetic name of the Centralnaya, the Central Restaurant, on what was then Gorky Street. And she took me there and we had a good evening. I wanted to go back with my wife. I went back and there was a man at the door with a peaked cap and a large coat. And he just said, "It's full." And they would have a sign up saying "Нет, нет," which means no room. And you'd see through the glass behind that the restaurant was empty. And it infuriated me to begin with. And then I began to make the first steps which would enable us to understand Soviet society. So actually, there will be a reason for this. And the reason was very quickly divine. I went back to my Russian friend. I said, "Well, why can't I get?" She said, "Oh, for goodness sake, he wants 10 rubles. So that was the first step. I could get to the door then, and I would give 10 rubles to the doorman, and suddenly there would be places. He was prepared to let me in that way. But then the second stage of the negotiation began, because everything on the menu was off, and the menu was completely fictional and didn't have anything on it. But if I was prepared to engage in negotiation by telephone during the previous day that I wanted to go, I could get a very fine dinner there. Smoked sturgeon, nice bit of steak, fried potatoes, vodka and all the rest of it would appear, but I would have to pay either a very large sum in rubles or a smaller sum in US dollars. And the whole point of it was this: restaurants in the Soviet era got privileged supplies of meat, vegetables, and alcohol. But they had to sell them at state prices, which were tiny. And instead of doing this, they would sell them out of the back door at black market prices, and that was how they lived. And so a customer was a disaster. But as soon as you reintroduced the rules of what the Marxist-Leninists would call capitalism to the restaurant and offered them more than they were getting out of the back door, then it transformed back into a restaurant again. You can't abolish capitalism. No. But on the other hand, that doesn't mean that it can't be moderated or made less ruthless and cruel or indeed insensate. All totally capitalist countries, like most of the South American countries, have no passenger railways. And as a result, they're hideously ugly and polluted and full of people driving unsafe cars on overcrowded, dangerous roads. A sensible, advanced country, which is capitalist, has passenger railways because it rationally can see that this is a better organization to such. It doesn't make it a communist country because it taxes people to provide passenger railways. It just makes it an intelligent country. Capitalism can be run intelligently.